All right, guys. Today I'm joined by John D Saunders, founder and creative director of 54 Digital, a seven-figure purpose-driven branding and web design studio that operates fully remote. John has worked with brands like Land Rover, Audi, the NAACP, and he speaks at events like the Webflow conference. He's not just leading his agency, but he's also educating the industry through courses, content, communities, newsletters, books, and even building a gaming studio with his son. John, welcome to the show. Of
Chris, man, thank you for having me, man. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm excited. Of
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
course.
Um, just like hitting it right out the park off the bat, like what has been the for you, what has been the key to scaling your agency to the level of success that you're currently seeing?
Yeah, I would say one of the keys to our success would have to be I think it's a few things, of course, but of course, the ability to push through the difficult times in regards to being consistent. And you hear this all the time about consistency and pushing through and making sure that you're in alignment with your industry and always looking to develop and grow your skills. But I could tell you, like, without a shadow of a doubt, a lot of this had to do with consistency. And you might start out doing projects for a lower cost, a lower price. You might even start out doing projects for free. But being able to stay consistent and stay relevant in this industry is definitely the number one reason why we're in business now. We just celebrated 11 years in business in May, which is crazy to me. That's wild, man. It's wild. But as a web design and branding studio, we started out as a digital marketing agency, right? So we were doing SEO, SEM, we were doing Facebook ads, we were doing web design, web development. And so over the course of that time, we've pivoted within the realm of our industry. So as we started to grow and really do more UI, UX, app design, and more web design focused projects, we were able to leverage the skills in digital marketing in the things that we knew in regards to analytics and heat maps to really delve in and create a proprietary type of product in the web design and development field. And so we stayed consistent within that realm and we operated in regards to the times and really optimized our agency based on what the market was telling us. And I tell people this all the time. In the beginning, it'll feel really difficult, especially because your price will be low because you won't be able to warrant a premium price just because you don't have the skill set or the know-how or the knowledge to be able to charge at that cost. But as you grow, as you develop, every project you take on, you increase that price because you're increasing your value as you learn more and work with more clients.
That's powerful. How much do you think becoming a specialist in a few key areas contributes to justifying increases in price point?
Yeah. Yeah. I always felt that starting out, you don't want to be a specialist, mainly in web design, because you want to find your niche and your specific pocket of success of where you can excel. So for us, we were open-ended. We were like, hey, we do web design, we do branding, we do SEO, we do SEM. We basically did everything under the gamut, right? And when we started, it was just me. So you'll say we're a powerful agency. It's really only one person when you start out, right? Because you have to start somewhere. And so for me, it was about focusing on how I could help customers to the best of my ability and being able to learn and leverage those skills. And then based on what the market was telling us and based on what we became really good at is when we started to niche down in regards to the startup slash SaaS space. And so as we got in alignment with these types of clients, we were able to create a system that worked across the board, right? So if you're working with SaaS clients, you know every website is going to need specific components that are specific to that industry and that niche. And when that happens, you start to become a specialist and you can charge more of a premium for your prices, right? Because you're doing the heavy lifting. You've worked with clients like this before. Thus, you have a specific type of way and know-how to work with them that another agency that's more generalized won't.
Got it. That makes absolute sense. And so thinking of where you're trying, like what your trajectory is for the next 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, where are you trying to take the agency?
Great question. We want to, and here's the thing about our agency, it's been slow growth over those 10 years. So for me, if we can increase between 8 to 15% every year, then we're seeing success. The main goal for us moving into the next year, 2 years, is for me to put more folks in position to work autonomously. With our agency, since we're remote, a lot of us work in, I'd say, silos. So what we really try to do is connect people across their different roles to help expedite our projects along the path. And so for me, we're actually hiring 2 more designers. We're hiring another customer service manager. And we want to be able to have a specific pod of people for each project that work together. Because we're in different time zones, because a lot of our team members were async, we try to have 1 or 2 hours of alignment between team members on that team so that they can speak, communicate effectively, and get the job done. My goal is to be able to manage the team, be able to delegate and give them all the aspects and things that they need in regards to standard operating procedures, incentives, goals, so that way they can work at an optimal level. Now I'm not doing any design. I'm not doing development. I'm not corresponding with the clients throughout the project. That's more so on my team. And so I'm really focused on owning in on that, being able to empower them as much as possible so I can focus on big picture.
Got it. And for you to be able to step out of the fulfillment piece to open up opportunity, I would assume it's to work on the messaging, the branding, the agency and growing and potentially client acquisition side, or like what other areas are you excited to step out of the day-to-day and
Yeah,
focus on?
great question. One thing we do is we create SOPs or standard operating procedures around everything we do in the agency. Now with AI, it's helped us exponentially in that space because now if there's anything proprietary to our agency that we do, what we'll do, and this is the easy way to do it, record a video of yourself with Loom, take that transcription, upload it to ChatGPT with a prompt template saying, hey, make this into an SOP, turn this video transcription into an SOP. Start with the purpose, start with the team roles, continue to steps, and then continue to desired outcomes. So every SOP has a specific template. Now, once we have all these templates for the agency built out, we create a custom GPT, uploading all those assets into it that anyone can access on the team. Now, if you're sending out emails, if you're corresponding with clients, if you're having questions regarding installing analytics or our proprietary process for high fidelity wireframes, it's all lives within that chat GPT and it's constantly updated and optimized as time moves forward. What that does is it frees up time for me to be able to say, hey, you guys are empowered to create additional SOPs that are in alignment with this master document of our checklist and the way that we do things at the agency. Now I'm going to go focus on marketing, content, and getting the name out there for us to be able to bring in more referral business, cold leads, and more action into the agency so we can continue to scale. Then as we scale, we bring on a certain increment of projects. That means we need to bring on a certain increment of team members. Now, a great thing about our agency is we're remote and we have a completely remote team that's worldwide distributed. So our margins are a little bit bigger, right? Now, that doesn't mean that we're hiring offshore and we're paying people nominal fees or nominal wages. What we'll do is we'll pay 30, 40, sometimes 50% over market price in their local market. So one, they're able to fulfill themselves, take care of their families, but it's still at an incrementally lower cost than it would to be hiring someone in the US. And so we have team members here in the US, South America, Asia, Africa. We just hired a designer, a UX designer from Ghana, and we're able to get a worldwide perspective, design, development, and how the world sees web design and development as a whole. And so it just helps us get a really clear lens and view of the landscape. And that frees me up to be able to work on high level aspects of the business, like overall brand, overall look and feel, and marketing and strategy. And just as a side note, Chris, we're actually working right now. We're doing a rebranding, we're updating the website because during the summer, sometimes that lead flow will dip down. During that time, this is the time for us to hire, get people in position, and be ready for Q3 when the time comes.
Got it. And are you primarily the one doing all the sales and the client acquisition for the agency? Are you working with clients or
Yeah,
you have a
so I
team that's
do. Great question. So I do the sales calls, and that's pretty much my main priority. So I'll probably do maybe 7 to 8 a week. I have those dedicated to specific days. So I only take calls Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Wednesday is a clear day. Friday is a clear day. Friday mornings, I have Spanish lessons because I'm in South Florida. I want to make sure that I can speak and be bilingual and show my kids like, hey, this is a really great asset and thing to have living here in South Florida. And so for me, it's really being able to lock in those days and do the sales calls because I still like the fight, man. I still like the hunger. I'm an introvert and I have to force myself out there. So the sales calls are just really good for me. And so what I'm trying to do is build up a really locked in system for that sales process that I can then delegate to team members. And if you look at our calls, like we track everything with AI, I'm not even doing most of the talking on these calls. I'm doing maybe like 20% and the client's doing 80. And then we have specific questions that we asked to be able to understand and get all the information we need to make an informed decision and put together a solid proposal based on those client needs. And that's probably the next role I'll hire once we get to a certain point where I feel like I just don't want to do it anymore.
A couple things that you point out there, I think, are important. The 80-20, 80% of the person on the other side doing the talking, how important that is. And I guess for you, is that something that you had to learn, or is that something that you, through experience, realized, hey, maybe I shouldn't be the one doing all the talking?
Yeah, it's one thing that, I mean, I have all my books here. I learned that in books on psychology and communication. Primarily, one of my favorites is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Just some really great tidbits there. I think that's who wrote that. I can't remember, but really great book. I realized that in this world, in the sales world specifically, you have to be able to listen, internalize, and then provide what the client needs. I can tell them, oh yeah, we've done websites for this person and we've done this and we've done this and we've done this. But it's not important in regards to the context of what they're looking for. Hey, we need a new website for our SaaS product. Okay, what are your specific offers? Oh, these are offers 1, 2, and 3. What do you want the main call to action to be when people see your brand, when people see your website? We want them to be able to book a call. Great. Are you guys using Calendly? We can do an integration on your website to make it really, so it's really having conversations around that and just asking vetting questions so that we give them exactly what they need in the proposal.
Got it. And so I find that a lot of agency owners, and just business owners in general, there's kind of two camps. There's the one camp that have a really hard time offloading responsibilities, especially on the sales side. And you have the other camp that are like, they're trying to run away from it. Like they don't want to do it. They want to get somebody in as fast as possible. What are your thoughts, and like what challenges have you faced there?
I definitely feel like I could have probably offloaded that sooner than later. It's something that I've been doing all this time, and I feel like I've gotten better at throughout the process. I feel like I'm comfortable enough now to be able to say, hey, I have this pretty much systematized. Let's go ahead and hire our first salesperson. I just haven't got to that point. I don't know. We get enough lead flow through referrals. That's really great. But I think one of the things that's missing from our agency is that being able to flip a switch and get leads in, right? Where we're contingent on referrals. The great thing is it's compounded over time. So we get a consistent amount of referrals. But every agency should be able to operate from a point where they can flip a switch and get leads on autopilot. And that's one of the things I think is missing from our agency currently.
Got it. Shifting gears a little bit, how, or maybe it segues very well into lead generation, but how are you leveraging AI to stay competitive? I know
Phew.
you mentioned that you're recording calls. I know you
Oh yeah,
mentioned
man.
ChatGPT and SOPs. What other
Yeah.
places?
Ton, man. We're using it in so many different ways. So let me start with one, of course, ChatGPT. Mainly, we're using it for internal communication in regards to SOPs, email templates. We use it to help and organize and contextualize copy for client websites, which has been huge. That's been an area of contention for clients because as you're designing, you're working through this process. When it comes to the copy, if they have a copywriter on their team or if you have a copywriter on your team, just finding that middle ground. So ChatGPT and other tools like Claude have really helped us create conversations and materials around that are optimized for the client. So it's not just about, hey, write about this. It's more so creating prompts, uploading content, and giving it context to write really solid copy and content for clients. We also use a tool called Relume, which is a web design and development tool that helps you develop sitemaps, brand identities, all with the use of AI. So we couple that with ChatGPT. We've been using Runway for video and visual type of content. We also have been using Stable Diffusion via Discord and Midjourney for images, contextual icons. We're really trying to get dialed in, but not lose that point of human interaction, look and feel, and elements. So being able to incorporate it into our agency, man, it's been great. It's been great to be able to do this, especially when we're creating SOPs and doing these different things. It just saves us so much time.
That makes sense. And I've noticed that you mentioned SOPs a few times.
Yes.
And so it sounds like it's been, and you mentioned that was one of your keys to success is just having standard operating procedures and creating a culture of developing those inside. So that's pretty cool that you continue to highlight that.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Absolutely.
John, I'm curious. I know you have courses, communities, newsletters, a lot of content in the education and serving the industry space. Is there anything that you would want to share or highlight?
Yeah, man. I've been really focused on condensing and just optimizing my life, man. Because at one point I had 3, 4, 5 different businesses going on. It becomes overwhelming. So this year I've really decided to parse and really get down to the nitty gritty with 54 Digital, my main agency, where we do branding, web design, development, and then having a fun, like little side project that I work with my son. We're working on a video game right now. And then I have one offering out. That's it. It's called Weekly SOP. It's on Substack. And essentially what it is, all it is it's every week you get one SOP to help your business. It's a premium newsletter, so it's $20 a month, super affordable, super cheap. And once you sign up, you get access to the entire history of our SOPs. So from onboarding clients to here's how to do wireframe design, here's how to set up analytics for your clients, here's our sales process, here's everything. And so every week I release an SOP. Actually, this week I'm working on one with our optimized sales call process and the questions and vetting questions that we ask to a client. So that's it, man. I'm really trying to streamline and put more of my efforts into the main agency, which powers everything else, have a fun little side project, and then have one type of course or offering that I can give folks that are interested in collaborating and working together.
Got it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm curious because it sounds like going from having multiple businesses, agencies, this, that, different offers, how have you also been able to balance that with your lifestyle and your life and staying
Yeah.
this fit and focused and healthy?
Yeah. One, it comes down to an amazing team and delegating to that team. So for example, I have a business called Black Illustrations. It's a platform where you can download illustrations of Black folks doing just amazing things. That's been around for around 5 years. It's done really well. It does about 6 figures a year currently. And so I'm actually preparing that for acquisition because and I have an ops manager that runs the whole business. So I'm not even a part of it. She hires the illustrators. She works with the team. She gets everything updated. So I'm not even a part of the business. However, I feel as though if I was to dedicate time to it, it could be even bigger, right? And so for me, instead of divvying up my time, I've hired someone full time to work on that, which is great. But I feel like I can have that get acquired. It's off our plate. Now I can take that person back into the main business and have her work on potentially sales or something else. So it's really about, you'll talk to folks that have 5 different businesses. They're all doing 500K, but why not focus on 1 or 2, have those do a few mil, and now you're working on this project. Now, some folks might say, why are you putting all your eggs in one basket? What if that business fails? What happens? I feel as though if you can put all of your efforts into that, really build it up, scale it to the point where it's doing well, there's so many different options for you in regards to acquisition, hiring someone to replace you. There's just so many possibilities. And that's really what I'm focused on.
Cool. Thanks for sharing,
Oh,
John.
and you said how do I have time for? Yeah, pretty much delegation, man. Delegation and having just a solid schedule and really controlling that time.
That's awesome. Last question here before we start to wrap. If you had to give one piece of advice for other agency owners that are trying to get to multiple millions in revenue, what would it be?
I'd say, of course, share your work, share your story, but man, you got to get out there and sell. You got to talk to people. You got to do events. You got to speak for free at events. You have to do some work for free. In regards to free, what I mean is in exchange for a testimonial, a review, a case study. You got to start somewhere. And so I'm a huge proponent of putting yourself out there, providing value to the community, and making sure that you're giving back in the form of content or value. and then going after these sales folks and really jumping on calls and getting it done.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, John.
Of course.
Where can people find you if they want to find out more information about
Yeah.
what you're
Yeah.
working
If
on?
y'all want to see anything that's going on, go to johnDsaunders.co. That's johnDsaunders.co. If you're interested in the weekly SOP, just go to johnDsaunders.co and click weekly SOP in the nav, and you can get your first SOP there to start building and optimizing your agency.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Awesome, man.
That was it.
Thank you
Thanks
for
so
having
much
me,
for
Chris.
coming on,
Appreciate you, man.
John.
Peace,
Likewise.
everybody.